What is up, everyone? Welcome back, or welcome to the Walkman channel. I'm Walkman, and today I'm going to be teaching you guys the beginner basics of the acoustic guitar. Hi, welcome back. So, today I'm going to be teaching you guys the beginner basics of the acoustic guitar, such as the string names, a couple beginner chords, and some tips and tricks I learned along the way that'll help it making it easier for you to learn. All right, everyone. So we're going to start off with string names, and the string names are named after the notes that they make when you pluck them. So essentially, it goes E, A, D, G, B, and E again. And the first and the last string are an octave. I find that pretty interesting. A lot of people like to use acronyms to remember the names of the strings, such as Eddie, 8, Dynamite, Good, by Eddie. I was never taught acronyms when I was first learning guitar, so I just kind of ran with it, but I learned that acronym later on, so use that to your advantage. That's essentially, what the string names are and kind of what goes after it. The names of the strings, like I said before, are named after the notes they make, which differs on what tuning you're in. So, and we'll get to that in a later video. But yeah, now we're going to move on to the parts of the guitar. All right, so this is called the headstock. It's essentially the head of the guitar, and these are called the tuning machines because when you put a string through the hole in here and you twist it, it tunes it up to pitch. This thing right here is called a nut. Those slots are what keep the strings in place from going, off the fretboard or anything else. This right here is called the neck. And this is a acoustic guitar, so it was glued in, essentially, which makes it a set neck. Set necks are glued in, and we'll get into that on a different video. This thing is called the fretboard. And the reason why it's called the fretboard is because these little sections that you see here are called frets. And the little dots or diamonds that you see on your guitar, or even the guitar that I'm holding here, they're called the inlays, and they differ depending on what guitar you have. On my King V right here, I have a combination of different inlays. It's actually a custom inlay done. It was done when the guitar came out in 2007. And some guitars have maple necks and maple fretboards, and it's actually really cool. But this is called the body of the guitar, essentially, because it's the main holdage of where everything goes. This is the bridge. The whole thing is the bridge here. These are called bridge pins. These little things you see right here, and these are called saddles. This is also known as a saddle because it's one piece. So, and on an electric guitar, you would see something like these here. Let me grab my guitar here. On an electric guitar, you would see something like these. Those are considered as multiple saddles because you can actually take them off individually, as the acoustic guitar, it's just one piece. So those are the parts of the guitar. That's essentially it. So yeah. All right, everybody. Now we're going to be moving on to chords. The first chord I'm going to teach you guys today is called a D. It's called an open D. I like to call it D major, but it's also known as an open D because the first string you start off on is the D string. So that's the chord. Let's drum it again. And all you have to do is just place 3 fingers on the fretboard. That's it. So you place your index finger on the G string of the 2nd fret, okay? Then you place your ring finger on the 3rd fret, so just one up higher, so that you make you're kind of barring these two like this. And they make that sound, and then you just take your middle finger and you just place it on that 2nd fret where you're placing your index finger, but on the last string. And then you just strum that D string below it to make it a bass, or to give that kind of a structured chord. That's the easiest chord in my opinion. Now, there are different variations of this chord you could do, but you could also add the A string in there and then make it sound like super big. Okay. You could also do this, which it's a bar chord, but we'll get into that in a later video. So, yeah, that's the first chord that I'm teaching you guys, is the D chord. It's used in a lot of songs. That's actually one of the most, I think that's like the 3rd or 4th most popular chord on guitar. I think even more popular than E minor. But the next chord I'm going to be teaching you guys is called, I think, a C add 9. But it's a pretty chord. What you're doing, you're placing your middle finger on the 3rd fret of the A string, okay, and then which makes it a C note. Okay, then you're placing your index finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, which makes it a E. And then you're going to take your ring finger and place it on the 3rd fret of the B. Okay, so you're not, when you go from D to C, you're not really changing your ring finger position. You're just changing 2 fingers positions, essentially, because you can go from. Notice how I didn't move my ring finger. So that's how you play it, and you strum all those chords, and you actually can use your thumb and wrap it slightly over and make sure you're touching the low string, the E string, but you're not like pressing down on it, otherwise it's going to sound like this. And you don't want it to sound like that. You want it to sound like nice and elegant. So you just kind of want to rest your thumb on there to mute it. So there's that. Okay, if you want to add a little flair, take your pinky finger and put it on that same fret, just a string above the B string. Okay, and then the final chord I'm going to teach you in this video is called a open G, which sounds like this. Okay, that chord is very popular. You start by taking your middle finger and you place it on the 3rd fret of the low E, and then you take your index finger, place it on the 2nd fret, and you don't have to have like go like this and like do this chord or whatever, because it's essentially the same. But like, it's easier when you do that, because when you have your fingers closer together, you don't have to stretch like that and like make a fool of yourself. So yeah, just have your fingers kind of close together. Make sure they're not kind of interfering with like the fret. Make sure they're not on the fret, otherwise you'll kind of get a bar chord sound essentially. So just do that, and then take your pinky finger and put it on the, it's essentially the same 2 strings that you were using last time for the C add 9 chord. So you're just essentially moving these 2 fingers down a string. And the chord progression of G, C, and D is one that I recommend you practice, because it helps build structure for your chord changes, and then just go back down and then go back up. I used that as a practice routine when I was younger, and it really helped. All right. So those are the chords of the guitar of today's lesson, that is. All right, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed that video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you like what you saw. And eat water, drink food, and live life you're supposed to. I'll see you in the next one.